There is no debate that NBA free agency is one of the most exciting times in the year-round NBA schedule because it's a time where the landscape of the league can change in an instant. And so far, we've already seen some pretty big moves, but this move that just happened is undoubtedly the biggest. Paul George just signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, and now I can confidently say that this just changed absolutely nothing. So yes, as we all know, Paul George is now a Philadelphia 76er, and this wasn't really a surprising move because it's been rumored to happen for like the last couple of weeks or so. And then, when Joel Embiid kinda hinted at it during the NBA Finals, I was convinced that Paul George was definitely out of LA. So now, he's on to his next chapter, and many Philadelphia 76ers fans are excited and pumped for the season. And I completely understand it because, as an OKC Thunder fan, when Paul George was traded here, I was pumped too. I was telling people, Russ, PG, Melo, that's a guaranteed championship. And the regular season started off pretty good. I remember when we smacked the Warriors at home, and I was thinking, no, seriously, we're winning the championship, because the Warriors were going crazy with their big three, but now, we had gotten a big three of our own, and at the time, you couldn't convince me that we weren't going to be dominant. But then the playoffs hit, and in the Thunder's first round matchup versus the Jazz, we were introduced to Playoff P. And for you to understand the main reason why I don't believe that this move of signing Paul George is going to help the Philadelphia 76ers get over the hump and win them a championship, we have to take a deep dive inside the history of Playoff P.
Yeah, I'm used to it. I'm used to this. Y'all ain't met Playoff P yet, huh? I'm used to these matchups. I'm used to playing against the best offensive guy.
High for the Jazz on both ends of the floor. George, three. That's three! Making 8 trays tonight. A Thunder all-time single-game record.
He's having a career night. It happens to be game 1 of the playoffs. 36 already through 32 minutes.
So is this the playoff P that we're supposed to expect?
It's I'm gonna bring it to that level on a nightly basis. Obviously, I was hot tonight, but that's the level I'm gonna bring it every night.
After having a phenomenal Game 1, dropping 36 points to get the dub, Playoff P went on an average 22.4 points per game and was getting cooked by Joe Ingles in the series. And in the closeout Game 6, Paul George played 45 minutes and he ended the game with 5 points. And the Utah Jazz, led by rookie Donovan Mitchell, went on to the next round. Now I wish that I could say that was where it ended, but no, because in the following year, in the season where Paul George arguably could have been the MVP, the playoffs came around, and once again he underperformed versus the Trailblazers. And then, in the worst inning possible, Damian Lillard hit the series-ending buzzer beater over Paul George, and in the post-game press conference, he proceeded to say this.
Yeah. I mean, that's a bad shot. Care what anybody says, that's a bad shot.
So now, I'm pretty sure you're probably thinking that has to have been the last time that happened, right? Well, once again, no, because in the following year after that, after he was traded to the Clippers, Playoff P turned into Pandemic P with him struggling with his consistency, because one game he would go off, and the next game he would play terrible like in Game 4 versus the Mavericks, where he finished with 10 points. But nothing compares to how Paul George and the rest of the Clippers choked in the next round versus the Denver Nuggets, because they had a 3-1 lead and they were the favorites to win it all. But after choking that lead, Paul George in Game 7 played 45 minutes and he finished the game with 9 points. And then, the cherry on top was when he shot the ball off the side of the backboard to hit the dagger against himself. So yeah, I can't really trust Paul George in the playoffs, and this is me cutting short because the bad performances didn't stop there. Now of course, he led the Clippers to the Western Conference Finals without Kawhi in the following year, and kudos to him. But in this past playoffs, he was once again inconsistent and ended up losing to the Mavericks in the first round. And now, he's going to Philly, who's a team that is known for falling short in the playoffs, and you expect me to think that Paul George is going to be the guy that gets him over the hump. I don't know about that one. And let me be clear, I'm not trying to come off as I hate Paul George, because really, aside of his actual play, I don't have a problem with him. And Paul George, from what I've seen from off the court, he's a really good dude. But on the court and in the playoffs, you cannot ever guarantee that Paul George is going to play well. Now he might have some really good games in the series, but when you need him the most, he's nowhere to be found. Now, Paul George isn't the only guy that could present problems for this team, because their face of the franchise and former league MVP Joel Embiid is also not trustworthy in the playoffs, but for different reasons. Joel Embiid is a great player, and for the most part, he plays great in the playoffs as well. And whenever he plays, or whenever he's fully healthy, he's a dominant force. But that's the problem. You cannot ever guarantee that Embiid is going to play or be fully healthy. And at this point, it's almost inevitable that at some point during the season, he's going to miss a significant amount of time due to an injury. Now I hope that it doesn't happen, but for the last couple of postseasons, Joel Embiid has had some sort of injury that he was playing with. And also, there are some injuries that kept him out for many games. Now I'm not a hater, so I have to acknowledge some of the good that I've seen in this team. Yes, it is true that the new big three of Paul George, Joel Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey all fit very well together. And signing a guy like Paul George is perfect because he fits well with any team that you could possibly put him on. And he won't get in the way of Tyrese Maxey being himself. And Tyrese Maxey is a rising star. Another thing that I like about this team is that they re-signed Kelly Oubre Jr. and Andre Drummond. And that means their defense and rebounding is going to be very tough to deal with. So with that being said, I expect them to be a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. And there is no excuse besides injuries for them to not at the very least make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So those are some of the positives I see with this team. But now, I gotta be real. Let's just assume that Embiid will be fully healthy and Paul George consistently plays well. I still don't see them getting past the Celtics if their team stays the same, because you gotta deal with the elite defense of Drew Holiday, Derek White, Tatum and Brown, and Porzingis. And then on offense, you just never know who could be on the Celtics that gives you problems. And also, I don't think it's a sure thing they can beat the Knicks either. Now they definitely have a higher chance of that than beating the Celtics, but it's not a guarantee. All I'm saying is that I know it's free agency, and I know it's an exciting time, but let's just pump the brakes on all this Philadelphia 76ers hype. But anyways, let me know how you guys feel about the situation in the comment section down below. And with that being said, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you later.